Hi everyone. I'm going to talk about, I'm a photographer, and I'm going to talk about two separate bodies of work. In relation to revitalisation, the first one's going to be about the revitalisation of the imagination in regards to myself, and the second one's going to be about a little bit more heavy, it goes into a bit of a different segue, and it's going to be about the revitalisation of the soul as the demon exits the body. So this is a body of work that I produced. I got a really good opportunity to have an exhibition at the Perth Centre for Photography, and it was almost like an open commission. I was invited to create some work based on work that I'd created in the past. The way I work is I set myself parameters and projects. So this project I wanted to work within the house. I wanted to work within my house, and this project is very much about myself. Myself coming to terms with who I am as an artist and who I am as a fella, as one of the guys talked about before. So the parameter is with the house. I wanted to look at the corners of the rooms. I wanted to look at everything that a house could be, and that necessarily it's not what we perceive it is now. So at the moment, all it is a structure where we live, and these are walls that protect us from the outside world. I wanted to play with this idea, and I wanted to revitalise my own imagination. I wanted to get back to drawing and painting and the things that you do when you're a kid, and you do it for no justification, you do it for no credibility, you just do it because you want to do it. So I wanted to create a body of work where I wanted to do it because I wanted to do it. And I had a goal of exhibiting at the end of it. I wanted to play with the house. I wanted to create scenes that you couldn't latch onto, that I was giving you something from my imagination and leaving it totally open to engage with your imagination, and you had to take it further, and you had to explore the possibilities of what you could make it. And in ways of doing this, some simple ways of doing this is making photos where you're unsure of if the person's entering the frame, if they're leaving the frame, what their position is in the frame. I started to look at wardrobes. With the imagination, with this wardrobe closed, in my imagination there could be fairies, ponies, dwarfs. There could be anything behind that wardrobe. But as soon as I open it, I realise how boring it is because it's just clothes. But how amazing is your imagination when it can be that? And I wanted to show people looking for that. I heard a really good, I can't remember if a friend told me or if I heard it as like a TED talk or something, but somebody was talking about the idea of ideas and how they come into being. And someone told me a story, or I heard a story, about Tom Waits driving in his car on the freeway and got an idea for a song. And he goes, "Fuck off, I don't have any time to write this down, go bother someone else." And what an interesting idea, that the idea becomes tangible and is floating around the room. So that's how I created this body of work. And the very last photo I took of this body of work was the photo that's coming up now. I'm not sure if you can see, but there's clearly kind of looks like a face. It could be light imagery, playing with shadows, playing off the girl's hair. It could be otherworldly, it could be a face there. I felt like finally I had some substance with where to go from here. And then through some conversations with friends, I came across and got in contact with some working Christian exorcists who live in suburban Perth. And again, it's a suburban house. And what the hell? So I called these guys up and I said, "Can I come down and see what you do?" And I did, and I spent a little while, I'm still sort of creating the project. So I started going down there, using it as research to try and find out what's happening if you're a skeptic, if you're not a skeptic, things are happening within the house that you can't put your finger on. These people could be acting this way because they feel like they are possessed by a demon, and this is the way they have to act in terms to follow out that. Or they could be possessed by a demon. And they believe they are. And they could be, who's to say? So my intention was to photograph it happening in front of me, but then morally it didn't feel right with me, because either way there is some sort of, for lack of a better word, suffering happening in the room, in the house. And it was quite often talked about that the person would become better if something had left. And these people believed that a demon had attached themselves to the body, to the soul, and in order to be revitalised, it had to be exorcised out. So I took all this information in. I talked to a lot of people about it, and a lot of people who were going through it and the people themselves who were performing it, and realised that I want to turn this research back into another house and make it more coming from not my perspective, but trying to create these works outside of that realm, so I have a bit more of control over it. I'm not taking advantage of anybody in the situation. So the photos you just saw were based on things that I had seen and things that people had spoken to me about. Yeah, okay, thanks. If you want to talk more, I'll be at the bar.